Follow the Money Weekly presents your precious metals market update. Here's Tom Cloud.
Jerry, it's great to be back on the show. I enjoyed the webinar we did last night, and hopefully your listeners got a lot out of it.
Yeah, we had a lot of response from that. I mean, that was probably one of the most heavily attended that you and I have ever done. We had a lot of people coming in from all over the world and a lot of questions that people are asking. And many, Tom, are asking, is now the time to be getting into gold, especially as we look back at the last month and we see that in some ways it has really come back after being down at the beginning of the year. It's had a real nice run in January. What say you on gold as we look out into the next week and just the rest of the year?
Well, I think the 11% run in January surprised everybody, and then certainly the 3.5% pullback we've had during February has been a consolidation time. A lot of talk out there about next week's expiration of gold contracts in Europe and what J.P. Morgan's going to do about shorts. They know if they stay in there too long, they're going to get hammered, and the most consensus things that we're hearing out of Europe is they're expecting gold to stay to Monday, possibly Tuesday, even into Wednesday, could stay in that 1720 range with a down potential down to 1700. But almost every timing service I take and every one that I'm reading and people I'm talking to in Europe are saying they expect either late Wednesday or Thursday of next week we start our next move. And several people interviewed on World King News have alluded to next week starting the next move up, and it could go to 1808, 1818. So we think it's an excellent time between now and next Thursday to come in the gold market. And today, on Friday, as we tape this, we sent out an email to our email blast people showing the top 25 people's predictions for gold and silver for this year, which is very good to see what experts are saying that do have the best track records over the past decade in predicting where gold and silver are going. So there's some pretty stout numbers on there, Jerry, both in gold and silver. Yeah.
Why don't you share with us some of the predictions that we saw on that article? Because we posted that same article up on Follow the Money Daily on ftmdaily.com so people can see. But why don't you share some of the numbers that some of these people are predicting?
Well, realmoneytracker.com is they track them, and there are people like even Barclays Bank is talking about 2,000 gold this year, but they've even made the comment they think it'll be in the second quarter, which will be before June the 30th. And you go down and Commercial Bank of Sweden, 1,900 they predict for the year. But John Embry, who runs the several $billion fund, Sprott Management, out of Toronto, is predicting $56 silver and $2,500 gold. He's about the most aggressive except for James Turk, who's had the best track record, and he's predicting $2,500 silver in the third or fourth quarter and $70 silver this year. So, and there's big names like Eric Sprott at 2,000, and Morgan Stanley, the brokerage firm, is talking about 2,175. So they're talking about a 35% up year this year for gold. And Peter Schiff talking about 2,500. And Rick Rule, the famous timer out of California, $2,200 gold. And Stephen Lee is the most aggressive at 2,750. And lastly, the United Bank of Switzerland says gold will hit 2,050 this year. And if you take 2,050 and you divide it by 1566 where the year started, they're looking at 31%. We're only up 8% so far. So UBS thinks gold will go up 23% more than it is right now.
As we look out into 2012, many people who are listening to this program own silver. We constantly get emails about silver as well. Let's talk about the silver market, and what do you see ahead personally for silver?
Well, I personally think it's an election year. I personally think quantitative easing is going to come officially this year from information we've been able to get from very reliable sources. We think the Greek thing will get pushed back through the election, even if the United States has to be part of the package to do it. So when you see these numbers that we talked about with these silver predictions, literally at the bottom of this thing we sent out today, the average of the 25 people is $59 an ounce, and silver sitting at $33.33 as we tape this show on Friday afternoon late. So we're talking about the average people think it's going to go up from here another 75% is the average, and certainly as things fall into place with no default in Greece, if the United States gets involved, quantitative easing here, the shortage in silver in the mines, I do think we're going to see $50 silver this year, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. I'm not quite as aggressive as some of these others, but I do feel we will see $50 silver.
Any comments on the palladium or platinum markets?
Yeah, I mean, platinum is safe to enter. I just haven't given an all-out buy signal, and don't know that I will. It's going to take some things to happen, but you can't get hurt in platinum. It's going to keep going up. But palladium is still one of my favorites. I still think, even with it lurking around 700, about where I gave the buy signal back on August the 4th, but it did go down. First of all, it went up to over 800 after I gave the buy signal. Then it went all the way down to 550 during the European crisis this fall. And then we see it go from 550 back to 700 in just a few weeks. We are in the mining time of the year where there's no mining going on, and I still think we'll see $800 here in between now and March. I still think you can jump in now and make 7 or 10% in a few weeks. I really, really believe that, and I think palladium will continue up and go over 1,000 next year in 2013, if not before.
You know, I think we should address also the topic of diamond investing, because we talked about it on the webinar last night. And for those who missed it, they can watch the replay on our website, ftmdaily.com. It's a 90-minute educational webinar where we go through and we talk about a lot of different things that are affecting the economy. But we ended, Tom, with a discussion on diamond investing, and you were sharing some new information that you had from a new article put out by Richard Russell. Kind of some of the stuff that's going on in the smart money with diamonds. Why don't you share what is happening there?
Well, people are very concerned about, the election this year and a state tax coming back, and people just want confidentiality and portability. And with all the talk out there, you hear confiscation talk, you hear state tax coming back, you hear all this. So what you're seeing, as Richard Russell, the dean of all newsletter writers, wrote last week, is that you're seeing money moving to diamonds, and he was alluding to the Rappaport magazine that showed items, like 40 items over the last 3 months, auctioned by Sotheby's and Christie's and private purchases, where the estimates were like $1 to $6 million for some of these rare diamonds, and they brought 3 and 4 times what they were looking. And certainly most people listening to this are not in a position to be buying those kind of diamonds. But what is available are the yellow diamonds that are still affordable, because there's more of them than pinks and blues and oranges and these kind of colored diamonds. And with the strong possibility of all these things and the uncertainty in the world, having a little bit of your portfolio in something that can be liquidated anywhere in the world, you can put them in your pocket and walk through an airport. You could temporarily mount them and wear them out of the country. I mean, there's all kinds of things for diamonds, and the market is universal. So, as I said last night, I think next to the 3 metals that we primarily talked about today and last night, that diamonds give you the next best area for inflation hedge, preservation of wealth, getting some money out of the dollar, confidentiality, portability, worldwide liquidity, all these things that no other investment on the planet Earth has but diamonds. And the yellow diamonds are the ones that we think have the best chance, and they're still, based on the size and the quality, are still, priced in the $4,000 per carat up to about $20,000 per carat range. So I feel very strongly that will be one of our big winners this year and beyond.
There was some interest in the webinar also about people asking the question, can I put diamonds in my IRA? And of course, we've talked about precious metals in the IRA, but you did give some good advice to people who were looking to put tangibles in their IRA. Why don't you share about, can they put diamonds in their IRA? And also, what advice do you give to those who want to put precious metals in their IRA?
Well, the diamonds you cannot. They're not allowed, just like rare coins are not allowed. So certainly when you buy diamonds, I've always looked at them as a personal investment anyway. So, the only people that can buy diamonds are corporate, people like I run my own business or you run yours, and if you have a defined benefit plan or a money purchase pension plan and you're the trustee, then you can buy diamonds for your own plan. But that's the only place that diamonds can be bought in the pension world. And then certainly gold and silver, you can go into self-directed IRAs. And we talked about last night, there are many different custodians. The one that we have found to be the most user-friendly is sterlingtrustcompany.com. And it's certainly not perfect, but they've done a pretty good job for our clients. You go to sterlingtrustcompany.com, and there's a question and answer section, and you can fill out the application in the rollover form, and you can have a precious metals IRA. And it has to be stored in Delaware, and you do have to pay storage fees annually. And the storage fees are fixed, so the more you have, the less percentage the storage fee and the custodian fee is annually. But you can look all that up on sterlingtrustcompany.com, and if anyone does and they're filling out the application, when they get to Section 8, they can give me a call about being their broker where they don't have to pay more money than they need to, and I can tell them how we can work together in choosing what they want to buy and how all that works. And they could reach me at any time at 800-247-2812. That's 800-247-2812, or email me at tgcloud, CLOUD, at bellsouth.net, tgcloud@bellsouth.net.
Yeah, and if they're not currently getting your email newsletter, which goes out a few times a week, they can do that at ftmdaily.com. Just simply click on the Precious Metals button, type in your name and email address, and that'll be sent securely to Tom, and he'll be able to send you out buy and sell signals on precious metals and any type of sales or specials that he has occasionally. You can also reach him by phone or by email. Well, Tom, I hope the folks tune into the webinar. If they missed it, I know that they'll be blessed if they do, because there's a lot of good information on there. I appreciate all your time. We stayed up pretty late last night doing that, so I'm sure the folks appreciated all the insights that you gave.
Well, glad to do it, Jerry.
Yeah.
We're just trying to educate the public, and they better be getting educated now, because by the time this thing starts its parabolic move, they need to know as much as they possibly can, and I thank them for making the effort to stay up last night as well.
I cannot agree more. Thank you, Tom. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you right back here next week.
All right. Thanks, Jerry.